Good morning. We're in Warren, Ohio this morning again, and we have a treat for you. We're outside in the wonderful sunshine again, receiving the quote cholecalciferol, vitamin D hormone from the sun to our skin today in our body. As we record our lecture and we continue on with the opportunity to understand how our environment affects us, our body. Our environment of the cells inside of each organ of our body. The environment being the major player in our health. The environment of the cell. Now today we know that DNA or genes or genetic coding or the inherited traits of a human being are responsible for reproducing our cells. As we know, every day a new stomach lining, every day 3 layers of epidermis, and over a 7-year period. And Deepak Chopra, a MD who is moving into the line of natural therapies more and more, speaks of speeding up that 7-year reproduction of each of our cells, including our bone and bone marrow, to not 7 years, but possibly even to 7 days. Pretty interesting, is it not? The opportunity to reproduce cells within our body definitely is dependent upon elimination of the dead cells that the new cells are replacing. Do you see? They don't just simply disappear. They become a part of your body again in recycling materials of those cells. However, albumin or undigested proteins have to be eliminated from the body through the kidneys, through the feces, through the liver, cleaning the blood, through the pancreas and the spleen converting the blood, through the bone marrow producing the blood. So we have the brain definitely leaving out hormones, if you will, leaving out hormones in the pituitary, the hypothalamus, the adrenal glands in our over our kidneys, responsible for so much, and the bowel as well, responsible, yes, the colon, responsible for creating new enzymes, new proteins, if you will, that are telling the brain what to do. Precursors for serotonin and dopamine are created by the ascending colons. Many nerves, the bundle of many nerves in the colon, the ascending colon, called the myenteric plexus, plexus for many, has the opportunity to release minerals, release fluids, release its plasma, if you will, into the bloodstream through the tissues of the ascending colon in that plexus, that bundle of many nerves, from the brain directly connected through the vagus nerve, crossing the heart, branching off into the lungs, allowing each abdominal organ, if you will, to have benefit through its creation at the myenteric plexus. So what we're looking at here in cell reproduction that DNA is responsible for is first, okay, the environment. Second, elimination of dead tissue within that environment, of new cells, dead tissue, dead pieces of your body, dead bone, okay? When that bone is reproduced every 7 years or 7 days, those minerals from the bone must be eliminated. That elimination is second to the environment. Now, in between elimination, in between the environmental experience and the ability for your body to remove waste materials from that environment of your kidneys, the environment of your spleen, the environment of your brain, for the brain to reproduce its cells and to be made new, we have to eliminate and secondly, assimilate within that environment new messages, if you will, like the proteins inside of the cell that reproduce new DNA and reproduce new cellular tissues. The messages the messages from the RNA, okay, ribonucleic acids and deoxyribonucleic acids as DNA, must be reproduced by the messenger RNA and the transfer RNA that come from outside of the cells, outside of the nucleus, outside of the cell membrane of each and every 120 trillion cells or more of our body. 10 years ago it was 70 trillion. So now it's 120 trillion, and we haven't made more cells. We haven't made more human. Less, if that. We have more cells. So science did not have the proper numerical value of how many cells you had in your body. Ridiculous to surmise cells in the microscopic environment when you can recreate cells by the macrocosmic environment. The large environment dictates the small environment. Science tells us and teaches us today that we come from the small environment. We come from a microscopic germ, and that germ has reproduced itself to make a new body. Is that not ridiculous? The experience comes from outside of you to make a new cell. So the experience for you, my friend, comes from outside of you. You come from, if you will, the dirt of the earth. Whether you're an amoeba or whether you're spoken into existence by the all, if you will, in all and through all. The all in your environment. All that there is. Not one small part of what there is, but the all from your environment dictates if you take a breath, receive vitamin D on your skin from the environment you are in. Outside of us, this sun shines from many, 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 many miles away, eh? And also, it's supposed to be, from the latest research of the sun is a reflection of the ultimate source of the sun. And the sun's source within our universe, if you will, where planets exist that have multiple suns. So, the environment of this universe that we're in, the environment of this planet, the third planet from the sun, allows us to have the life that we have because we, yes, are built according to the ability for the environment to give us the survival, to give us life, to give us the capability to survive, to thrive, to exist in this environment. So the environment of the cell, the same exact experience. The environment of the cell dictates what that cell will reproduce. Medicine today, and why I go into this so deeply about environment, elimination, and assimilation before reproduction can occur in the cell, right? They must assimilate, they must eliminate, they must assimilate new information, new nutrition, if you will, new components of your body that make new every day the fluids from your brain, depending on how you think, depending on how you breathe, depending on how you think is what you think about in your environment daily. Whether you're in an area of peace and ease, or whether you're in an area of fighting, or toxins in your environment that you can breathe in. You cannot live without an environment around you that's conducive for life. So environment is the primary experience that science is not taking into consideration. They're not looking at the environment in the primary aspect. For instance, you have liver and kidney disease. You have a kidney getting dialysis, and your body is given microscopic component balancing through dialysis. Microscopic mineral balancing so your kidneys can live, so you can live. If the environment of the kidney, which is the blood, the environment of the blood, which is the liver, the bone marrow, and even, yes, the nerves, the brain, are taken into consideration and changed, fed, cleansed, altered, and concentratedly producing, if you will, concentrations of their minerals, concentrations of their function of elimination and assimilation of their minerals, the kidneys will change. Why? Because the kidneys are filtering gallons of blood per hour, gallons of that same blood that is affected by the nerve, affected by the liver, affected by the spleen, affected by the colon. So the environment taken into consideration is where we find natural health and healing.